Welcome to Lit Hacks, unlocking literature, one story at a time. The Oresteia, mind ye, follows a cursed royal family where murder sparks revenge until justice triumphs over bloodshed in ancient Greece.
Welcome to this explainer. You know, when we think about the origins of our modern justice system, we don't usually picture a blood-soaked psychological thriller. But that's exactly what Aeschylus' masterpiece, the Oresteia, actually is. It's a foundational text of Western literature, sure, but honestly, it reads like the most intense, gripping true crime saga you could possibly imagine. So let's dive into how a story written over 2 millennia ago still perfectly captures that incredible tension between primal vengeance and civilized law.
We're talking about a 2,500-year-old story here, but imagine the news headlines if this happened today. You've got a powerful king sacrificing his own daughter just to win a war. You've got his grieving queen stewing in pure rage for a decade, meticulously plotting his murder. And then, when she finally pulls off this chilling revenge, their son is forced by the gods to commit the ultimate taboo. He has to kill his own mother. I mean, wow. It really forces us to ask the ultimate question. What actually ends a blood feud once it gets started?
Mine is the glory. That captures the unapologetic, chilling vibe of our central mastermind Queen Clytemnestra. Standing victorious over her slaughtered husband, she doesn't cower. She makes absolutely no excuses. She just owns it. As we're going to see, she's easily one of the most complex, terrifying, and captivating characters in all of ancient literature, and she completely drives the terrifying events of this entire saga.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for the Oresteia. It's actually the only ancient Greek tragic trilogy that survived intact, which is pretty amazing. It lets us trace this massive, bloody family saga across 3 distinct parts, exactly how audiences would have experienced it back in 458 BC. We kick things off with Agamemnon, plunge into the violent fallout in the libation bearers, and finally wrap things up with a groundbreaking conclusion in the Eumenides.
Section 1, the ultimate family feud. Let's dive right into this incredibly dark family history, starting with the first play, Agamemnon.
The origins of this feud are frankly deeply unsettling. King Agamemnon is desperate to sail to Troy for the Trojan War, but the winds just aren't cooperating. So, to appease the gods and get his fleet moving, he commits the unthinkable. He sacrifices his own daughter, Iphigenia. He literally chooses his military duty over his duty as a father. And man, this brutal act sets the stage for his wife, Clytemnestra. While he's off fighting for 10 long years, she just sits there, stewing in grief and rage, quietly plotting her revenge with her lover, Aegisthus.
And let me tell you, her revenge is absolute. When Agamemnon finally comes home in triumph, Clytemnestra plays the perfect, loving wife, but it's a total trap. The second he goes to take a bath, she entangles him in this heavy robe. The text describes it as being inescapable, like a fish in a net, and she violently murders him. She's completely unhinged at this point. She actually declares that the feeling of her husband's spurting blood felt like God's gift of rain for the crops. Yeah, it's incredibly dark, and it leaves the entire kingdom in absolute shock.
Section 2, a cycle of vengeance. Because in the ancient world, as we know, blood always demands blood. So Clytemnestra might feel totally justified in avenging her daughter, right? But by killing a king and her husband, she just triggers the next inevitable phase of the cycle. Enter Agamemnon's exiled son, Orestes. He returns to Argos with a direct, terrifying order from the god Apollo. He has to avenge his father. But to do that, he has to cross the ultimate line, mitricide. He has to kill his own mother. Orestes is caught in this horrifying catch-22. Disobey Apollo, he's cursed. Kill his mom, also cursed. Ultimately, pushed by the god and his sister Electra, Orestes brutally murders both Aegisthus and his mother.
And this brilliantly illustrates the terrifying consequences of his actions. The literal second Orestes sheds his mother's blood, he's hunted down by the Furies, or Erinyes. If you don't know them, these are ancient, merciless goddesses who act as the primal instruments of justice. Awakened by Clytemnestra's vengeful ghost, they relentlessly pursue and torment Orestes. He followed a god's order, but in doing so, he woke up literal nightmares.
Section 3, the mastermind, Clytemnestra. Before we find out what happens to Orestes, let's pause for a quick character study of the architect behind all this chaos. Because Clytemnestra isn't just your standard villain, she's a literary revelation. A fascinating paper from McGill University points out how Aeschylus completely subverted the gender roles of his time. See, in Homer's version of the myth in the Odyssey, Clytemnestra is this shadowy, passive figure easily seduced and controlled by Aegisthus. Homer basically uses her to make the faithful Penelope look better by comparison. But Aeschylus, he flips the script entirely. In the Oresteia, she is the dominant mastermind, articulate, aggressive, entirely in control, taking on what the Greeks would have seen as a decidedly manly role of power.
Aeschylus frames her as a tragically human heroine who utterly dominates the men around her. When Aegisthus shows up after the murder acting all tough, he actually gets mocked for letting a woman do the killing. Clytemnestra takes full, terrifying credit for her revenge. She's no mere accomplice. The chorus of old men are so blown away by her intelligence and command that they literally tell her, "Woman, you speak with sense like a prudent man." It really is a testament to how profoundly complex Aeschylus made her.
Section 4, Blood Feud to Courtroom. So, how does a society actually stop this endless loop of powerful people killing each other? Let's find out.
Seriously, think about it. If Orestes is killed by the Furies to avenge Clytemnestra, who avenges Orestes? It literally never ends. What Aeschylus gives us here to solve this is nothing short of incredible. The birth of the courtroom thriller. The whole action shifts to Athens, where Orestes goes on trial, an actual full legal proceeding. Apollo, the god who ordered the hit, serves as the defense attorney. The terrifying Furies? They're the prosecutors, demanding blood. And a jury of Athenian citizens is assembled, with the goddess Athena herself presiding as the judge to cast the deciding vote.
Now, the jury's vote ends up perfectly tied, which really shows just how morally impossible this whole situation is. But Athena casts the deciding vote for acquittal, and to calm down the enraged Furies, she actually persuades them to become the benevolent guardians of the city's brand new justice system. This is a monumental evolution. We're watching society transition right before our eyes from the old way of tribal blood feuds and personal vendettas straight into the new way of civic law, juries, and institutional justice. It's the birth of civilization as we know it today.
Section 5. Echoes in the Modern World. Let's see why this isn't just dusty, ancient history.
Directors and audiences today are still entirely captivated by the questions Aeschylus raised. Take Robert Icke's recent, highly acclaimed stage adaptation. A review from Loyola eCommons noted how seamlessly this story translates to the present day. By modernizing the setting, we're talking TV news interviews, digital countdown clocks, politicians in sharp suits. The production highlights that timeless clash between family loyalty and state law. The play functions like this dreamscape of impossible decisions, blurring the interior life of the family with a polished facade they present to the public.
These modern takes prove exactly why the Oresteia still matters today. It forces us to confront the steep costs of war, the complexities of our legal systems, and that intense friction between our duty to family versus duty to the state. And perhaps most importantly, it highlights the absolute moral ambiguity of violence. Every single act of violence in this trilogy is both justified and condemned at the exact same time. Aeschylus doesn't hand us simple answers. He hands us incredibly complex moral dilemmas.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought about our own institutions today. We have courts, we have judges, we have juries, but when you look at how we punish crime, have we truly escaped that primal desire for revenge? Or did we just formalize it? I highly encourage you to explore the Oresteia for yourself and see just how deep the roots of our modern world really go. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.